Welcome back to another episode of the Business Spotlight series. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I am a senior partner here at the Action Coach in Central Texas. Today, I have Heather Stevens with me as our guest. She's going to share a little bit about her business and her journey into business ownership, things like that. So this will be a fun conversation to go through. If this is your first time on the channel and you haven't seen these conversations before, make sure that you like and subscribe, get notifications whenever we drop conversations just like this one, because we are having conversations with business owners all around the area and it's super fun to do. So Heather, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
And thank you
Um,
for having me.
of course, I'm going to just hand it over to you. Why don't you share us a little bit about what you do, what makes you different? I know we had a conversation, a couple weeks back, and you were, sharing a little bit about what makes you different and all that kind of stuff. It's really cool. So I'm just going to hand it over to you. Why don't you give us a little bit of background and intro into you and your business?
Well, I am Heather Stevens and I am Willow's Bend Therapeutic Massage. I'm actually a mobile massage therapist, but I am doing a specific type of massage called myofascial release. So myofascial release is what a lot of sports figures will get. So it's for injury prevention, but also if you do end up getting an injury, I can help out with taking care of scar tissue and trying to get you back to being able to move again.
That's beautiful. And how long have you been doing this?
Basically about 19 years.
Wow, that's a
So
long time.
just a minute.
I love that. And is this always what you wanted to do, or did you how did you get into how did you get into this realm?
I actually never expected in a million years to become a massage therapist. Back in late 90s, I worked for a research and development company called Millennium Pharmaceuticals, and they're no longer there anymore. I also worked for another company called Therapeutics. Say that 10 times fast. Oh my gosh. But I was doing research, like the cutting edge research, learning about different vaccines that, we could put out on the market, different medications too. So it was taking and really getting into the nitty gritty of the science for that. And then I injured myself and I found that doctors weren't helping me. And eventually the best thing in the world happened to me. I got laid off. And people are like, wait, you got laid off and that was the best thing in the world? And it was because it actually put me in that place of discomfort. It made me have to move forward. It made me have to actually reassess everything and go, how do I fix self? Because I couldn't work in my field anymore. One of the major things that I had to be able to do in my field was be able to lift up to 75 pounds. I was unable to lift even 5 pounds.
Mm.
So it kind of sort of made me stop and think, how am I going to fix self? And because I know a lot of other people now struggle with the same thing. They go into their doctor, the doctor doesn't know some of the crazy stuff that I do. And they don't know how to treat some of those soft tissue injuries. So a lot of times they prescribe the medications that helped, get out there in the market. But then it's like, it stops there and it shouldn't stop there. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in addition to using Western medicine by also including that Eastern Chinese traditional medicine, which is actually putting your hands on people. So folks that are doing acupuncture, chiropractic care, it's all stemming from that Chinese traditional medicine that's been around forever.
That is fascinating. Um, Tell us a little bit more about the myofascial release. I personally, I'm a little bit familiar with it, having been in sports and around kind of exercise physiology and such in I don't know, 10 years ago or so. But for those that aren't familiar with that and how that's different than just the traditional kind of massage therapist and things like that, give us a little bit of insight on what that looks like and why it's important.
Well, for the most part, for myofascial covers from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. It keeps your organs from splushing around. So when you're in that car accident, it will actually tighten up to keep your organs from really going out of place, so to speak. It also helps out with muscle memory, teaching our bodies how to do something like ride a bike. Using the muscle memory, that's actually the fascial system. That's actually remembering some of this stuff. It's also where a lot of the water in our body is too. It helps out with getting the impulses, the electrical impulses from our nervous system over to the muscular system. And that's why water is super important to our body, because without water, the fascial system stops functioning. So it does a lot of really important things. It helps out with the movement of the muscle. It helps out with keeping things in place, but it also helps out with just the transportation of the water throughout the entire system. And if you ever heard somebody tell you not to stand in a puddle during a thunderstorm, it's because the electricity will actually flow through your body. And because we've got so much water in our system too, it helps move the electricity a little bit better.
Makes sense. Very cool. Appreciate you kind of going into explanation on a bit of that there. So taking a step back, moving into being laid off, having to heal yourself, getting into this realm, starting a business for yourself. Tell us what kind of that journey looked like, especially the first year or 2 years that you kind of started into this realm. Was it difficult? Was it frightening? Was it super exciting? Was it a little bit of everything? What did you experience in your journey?
It it was definitely different because I mean, originally I was working for somebody else. When I got out of school, and as I said, it's like I wasn't expecting to ever become a massage therapist, but I found that it helped me out so much that, hey, why not? Let's help out more people. So I was actually doing my own business alongside of working at another individual's massage therapy location. And this is back in Massachusetts. So totally different mentality there, totally different people, different. And it's like they're very, in Chinese traditional medicine, they would be considered metal sort of people. So everything has to have an explanation. So it's like you have to really explain things to some people and break it down so it doesn't sound like some sort of weird magic that you're doing. But it was a lot of teaching of people how to take care of their problems, because a lot of times nobody told me how to do it. I came from a family that didn't even touch. So it's like going from not touching anybody to, hey, I'm gonna put my hands all over everyone. My parents were just like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And I even got told by my mother to go get a real job. So it was a little bit on the trying side, because you are sitting there going, okay, I've got this, and everyone else around you is telling you you don't got this. And so that makes it a little bit more difficult. So I understand when there are some, business owners out there that say, everyone that should be in my court is telling me how much I'm going to fail. A lot of times you have to ignore them and push on and say, I've got this. Even if they don't think you've got it, go find your new tribe. I have found different people in my tribe, so to speak. Gosh, a little bit of everywhere. Because I started off in Massachusetts, moved from Massachusetts to the United Kingdom, lived in England for a couple of years, moved from there to Arizona because, well, I wanted heat after being frozen to death in England. And then I ended up in Texas. I started off in El Paso, Texas, and then I came here to Central Texas. So it's like I've gotten around a little bit. And each location that I went to, there was a different sort of way that they would learn things, different way of experiencing things. So it made, business as a whole a little bit more difficult because you had to find the way to break into the market. Um, what were people's generalized viewpoint of massage therapy? How can I break through those preconceived notions? A lot of folks sit there and say, oh, it's all about lotion and oil and, the candles flickering in the background. And I'm like, no, there's no lotion. There's no oil. Usually it's a little bit deeper, and some people sit there going, yeah, it hurts a lot just to get, the body back to where it needs to be, but it's the after that you're looking for. So trying to teach people what a good pain is versus bad pain. And I mean, I was even privileged to work on post. I worked with a lot of the soldiers on post, and trying to teach them that, yes, this hurts right now. However, this is what we're doing and why we're doing it. Probably the hardest one was the soldiers that came in with bullet holes in them. Because you have to break down scar tissue, and you're telling them, hey, I know this isn't fun right now, but this is what we're trying to do. This is how we're trying to get there. So for business though, yeah, you had a lot of ups and downs. Also, because of the mere fact that I'm a military spouse, every 3 years you're moving. Well, it takes 3 years to build a practice. So a lot of times you're out there hustling and knowing that at the end of that hustle, you're going to have to do it all over again. When I came to Central Texas, though, it actually brought on a new sort of struggle for me in my business, where my husband is now PCSing by himself. He's currently at home. However, for the last 3 years, he was gone. So having to take care of all of the household stuff and also business stuff, it's difficult. And then when he comes back home and you're sitting there going, oh my God, I've been doing all of this stuff for the last 3 years. And it's like, why are you here?
Oh my. There's so much there in what you've just shared that if we had time, I'd love to just kind of layer back. But um, overcoming several different types of challenges. People maybe not believing in you and what you do, and the fact that you're doing, starting business. I don't know if I've talked to many business owners that hasn't had the situation where no, just go get a real job and have been told that in some way, shape, or form. So I mean, that's a very real thing. And then of course balancing work and life and everything else that just needs to be done. So I'm curious for you. I always love to talk about kind of call it the keys to success, or the things that any one person does, consistently, that they just kind of attribute. I do these things and it helps me become successful. And that can be, a number of different things for anybody, but I'm curious for you, kind of what's in your routine, so to say, that helps you continue to push past those challenges and continue on, a path of success for yourself.
Well, I am definitely the habitual researcher. So I'm constantly researching things, finding new things out there, reading different sorts of articles. And like some of them, people look at me and go, do you know what that's talking about? In fact, I had one person say, wow, you can say einen frequencies so well. I was just like, it was one of the articles that I was recently reading. It was part of the article, and learning how to read these scientific papers can be a challenge for some people, but you can get a lot from them. It's helped me actually be able to experience more things out there so that I can help out more patients, so that they know that I'm not just sitting there and going, oh yeah, come see me. We're gonna just do a cookie cutter massage. But instead I have to stop and think about what's going on. And with some of these research articles, they're helping me understand different things that are going on within the human body that I might have missed. And yeah, it's a lot of work to do some of this research because you don't know where you'll find it. And when you stumble across it, in fact, I've had people look at my laptop and they're like, you have like 20 pages open at one time. What are you doing? Today I only have 3 things open on my desktop computer, so I'm doing pretty good here. But I'm constantly learning new things so that I can actually reapply it to the person. And I think that's what makes me stand out as a massage therapist, but also to help me get more business coming through the door.
It's phenomenal. Heather, as we continue to move forward, and I want to be respectful of time. So before we get into my final question, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Remember that sometimes you fail, but always remember to fail forward.
It is an amazing piece of advice. So as we kind of wrap up the conversation here, before we jump into my final question, for those that are listening, watching, how can they find out more? How if they want to try out your services, if they just want to learn more about what you do, if they want to connect with you in any way, how can others connect and find more information?
Well, you can definitely call me. My phone number is 254-29 hand 2.
Perfect. Beautiful. I will make sure to kind of put the information down in the description of the video. But as we wrap up,
Yes.
Heather, what is most inspiring to you today?
After working on an individual that has not been able to move for one reason or another, being able to give back that ability to actually move again, and just watching them light up, especially there was one individual, he couldn't open up a peanut butter jar so they could make his child a peanut butter sandwich. And the day that he came in and he was like, oh my God, this is what I was able to do. It's great to hear those stories when they come back and say, you wouldn't believe what I was able to do. And it's like, if they told somebody just on the street, they would sit there going, I open up peanut butter jars all the time. What's the big deal? But it's a huge feat when you can't do something. So they always inspire me to continue doing the work so that more people can open up their peanut butter jar and continue just being able to live and not have to depend on somebody else to open up their peanut butter jar.
Absolutely amazing. Just pausing and hopefully letting that sink in for everyone who just heard that. That is so powerful. Heather, thank you. This has been an amazing conversation. I appreciate you sharing your journey and a little bit more about your business and everything else like that today. So thank you for taking the time to sit here with us and share. It's truly been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you.